Hi, my name's Jeff. I'm doing a series of philosophy videos, trying to build a whole library, hopefully, of introductory material on philosophy that's accessible outside the university, because I think that this stuff can make our lives better. And I think if I can actually reach people, then it will be more effective and more helpful. And I've been starting out with talking about some basic principles that seem the most important to me. And the biggest one for me is dualism. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today. And I'd had one of my followers had asked about doing a live sometime, so I thought I would do this one as a live stream. Um, and what I want to talk about is this dualism that I've been talking about between facts and opinions, between facts and values. And we have this idea that facts are true and real, and opinions and objective, and opinions are subjective, and don't really have anything to do with facts. They have to do with your feelings and how you feel about things. And I've been trying in this whole series of videos to say that that's kind of nonsense, and it gets in the way of actually thinking in productive ways about facts, and also gets in the way of rethinking our own values and talking with people about the values that we have, how we understand those values, what those values mean, where do those values come from and why, how do we implement them when we do things in the world. Because you could call the things that we do in the world facts. And so if we're acting on our values, then we are making facts on the basis of our values, not by confirmation bias, but just by doing things that originate from our values. So what's the relationship then between the values that we have, that we bring to the world, and the facts that we bring into the world? And so we have this idea that you have a right to your opinion, no matter what it is, but you don't have a right to the facts. And there are lots of memes about not having a right to your own facts. You can have a right to your opinion, but not a right to your own facts. And I don't even think that's necessarily wrong, but it's an oversimplification, and we tend to treat it like a metaphysical reality, like facts and values don't have anything to do with each other, when in fact they do. And if we go back to another fact value dichotomy, well, another dualism, another dichotomy, the one that I talk about in one of the earlier videos is kind of the classic dualism of modern philosophy, which is the mind matter dualism, the dualism between body and soul. And this goes back to Rene Descartes in the 1600s. And not that there's not a sort of, long history of that basic distinction between mind and matter, or between bodies and souls, for example. But Descartes articulates this philosophically as a kind of dualism where you have the thinking stuff, the res cogitans, the stuff that thinks, and it does not exist physically in the world at all, in any way. And then there's the res extensa, the material stuff, matter, and it exists physically in the world, but it does not think at all. It's just physically there. And so a human being on this account is a combination of that thinking stuff with that material stuff. Now, if you think for 2 seconds about this, you'll realize that there's a problem. How does the fact stuff, how does the material stuff interact with the thinking stuff that's immaterial? And so if I have my hand and I hit here, right, like I can move my hand. How does my mind, which is not physical, move my body, which is physical? How do those two things affect each other? And how does my body send any sensory data, which is physical, to my mind, which is not physical? And so there are some ways in which we see right away that there's a problem here, that we have to overcome that dualism. And Descartes himself recognized this because he wasn't stupid. We could say he was wrong about this, but he wasn't dumb. He knew there had to be a thing. And for him, because he had actually done dissection of human bodies, he did vivisection of animals. And so he actually understood a lot about the nervous system, and he understood a lot about the brain from his own direct research even. And so he had the idea that it was the pineal gland in the back of the head that was somehow the mysterious organ that allowed for communication between the immaterial mind and the material body. But of course, you can see that doesn't solve the problem. Like, how does the pineal gland, if it's a physical thing, it's not a mental thing, so how does it do it? Right? And if it's an immaterial thing, it's not a material thing, so then how does it do it? So either way, we still have the same problem. And I think we see this problem so clearly that we don't understand how mind and matter can relate to each other without there having to be something that connects them. Whether you think that's a spiritual thing, like a miracle, a divine miracle or something, or if you're philosophical and not religious or spiritual, you might think, well, thinking is just already physical. And even the ancient Stoics understood the soul as a physical thing, as made up of atoms. But when it comes to facts and opinions, we want to think that we've got the opinions that are mind and the facts that are material, and they don't have anything to do with each other. And yet somehow our values bring facts into the world when we do things, and facts affect how we feel about things. How is that possible if they have nothing to do with each other? So if you'd like to think more about these questions, and it looks like I've got 0 viewers in the 6 minutes, but that's fine. If you'd like to think more about this stuff, then I would encourage you to watch some of the other videos, and I would love to have questions and video requests if you're interested. So thanks for your time.